There we go. Good evening. Today is Wednesday, February 26, 2025, and the time is 6 p.m. The meeting of the Prosper ISD Board of Trustees is hereby called to order according to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Representing the quorum this evening, we have Mr. Webb, Mr. Dial, Mrs. Dixon, Mr. Cavender, Mr. Linker, Mr. Van Wolf, and myself, Bill Beavers. We will now enter into closed session according to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Section 074, 082, 0821. And we will be back out here shortly. We will now reconvene after closed session. The time is now 6:59 p.m. The Board of Trustees extends a heartfelt gratitude to our entire Prosper ISD community. We're deeply appreciative of our residents who approved a $2.7 billion bond for new schools construction, our dedicated teachers and staff who tirelessly serve our students and families, our parents who support our teachers and campuses through volunteering, partnering with us in their child's education, our exceptional campus and district leaders who we believe are the finest in the great state of Texas and continuously strive for excellence. Your collective commitment to Prosper ISD is what makes our district thrive. Thank you for choosing and supporting our schools. Mr. Webb, you have the invitation this evening.
All right, let's pray. God, we come to you with humble hearts and open minds, asking for your wisdom and divine guidance as we work to ensure the best education possible for every student here in Prosper ISD. God, may you continue to give us strength and direction in the decisions that we make. We also ask that you be with our state leaders and legislators as they're making decisions that deeply affect public education. God, may their hearts be open to doing what you deem best for the future of this incredibly important work of public education that we do daily for our students and communities across this great state. God, we thank you for every student, every family, every educator, every educational leader and community member in Prosper ISD. And we ask, God, for your continued blessings, providence, grace, and peace for our district and this state. God, may we know how much you love each of us, and may we love one another more and more each day. And all my friends said,
Amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas pledge. Honor
the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Mr. Van Wolf, you have the reading of the board vision.
You got it. The board's vision is to ensure a safe and supportive educational environment that promotes academic excellence and opportunities, honors traditions, fosters student learning, facilitates effective recruitment and retention of talented educators, and grows all people at all levels.
Thank you, sir. As always, this meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, which can be found in Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. All of our voting must be in public, but we can privately discuss certain items, including but not limited to matters regarding individual employees, individual students, land acquisitions and real estate, school safety and security, and matters requiring legal advice. However, after that private discussion, any final vote must be in complete view of the public. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, the agenda for tonight's meeting was posted for the public to view at least 72 hours before the meeting. In front of you now, you will have upcoming dates, and then that will take us into celebrations.
Yes. I'd like to ask Mr. Aaron Risenbrink to please come forward if he's here tonight. Mr. John Alstron and if Mr. Jones. I'm great. How are you? It's good to see you. All right, so we have some pretty important students to recognize tonight. All state is the highest honor a Texas music student can receive. The selection process began with over 70,000 students from around the state vying for this honor, with 1,875 being selected as All-State. Only the top 2.6% of musicians who initially audition become All-State musicians. So it's a very hard honor to be able to attain. And we're very excited because we have students from all of our high schools that are going to be honored tonight. This year, Prosper ISD had 9 musicians receive All-State honors, the most 6A All-Staters in its history. So, Mr. Risenbrink, I would like for you to do the honors of inviting your students up.
Yeah, first we have senior trumpet player, Mr. Andrew Vital. And then we have junior flute player, Miss Katie Lee.
Congratulations to you both. We're so very proud of you and all that you've accomplished. I know that this is not an easy honor, but I also want to say thank you to your parents, because they dedicated a lot of time and effort in making sure that you can reach this highest level, not only in the fine arts area, but also in the academic area. So congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Next up, we have Rock Hill High School. So I would like to ask Mr. Nugent to please come forward as the Rock Hill High School band director. And I see that Mr. Mouton is here. Come on up, don't. Nope. Mr. Nugent, if you would please do the honor of introducing and welcoming your students to the first.
Thank you. First up, Emily Ayers, senior euphonium player. Andy Cadena, sophomore trombone player. And senior flute player, Kiara Damami.
I will say this to you, congratulations. It is a huge honor to have you standing here tonight. I know your parents are very proud of you, as they need to be, but you also need to make sure you have the parents along all that they've given to you, and then also great educators who stood behind you and supported you through the years. And I know this journey probably began in about 6th grade for you to get into band, and so there are a lot of people who got you to this point, so don't forget them as well. And again, congratulations. We're so very proud of all of you. Congrats. Thank you all. Next, we have Walnut Grove. I'd like to ask Mr. Brumley, Raiden Brumley, to please come forward. And I see that we have Dustin Toth with us, principal of Walnut Grove High School. Come on up. Mr. Brumley, would you like to do the honors of introducing your student?
Would love to. The first ever All-State Band student from Walnut Grove High School, Mr. Ethan Ford.
I'm very proud of you, and certainly proud of your parents for being a part of this moment with you. And I know a lot of long hours and a lot of hard work, but it has paid off, and you have now set the standard at Walnut Grove as the very first. So congratulations. Very proud of you.
Way to go, Ethan.
Hello, wait.
Thank you. So not only do we have All-State Band, but we have All-State Choir. So at this time, I'd like to ask Crystal Chamberlain, the choir director at Prosper High School, to please come forward. Ms. Chamberlain, hello. Would you like to do the honors of introducing introducing your student and asking them to come forward.
I would be thrilled to introduce you to Aiden Hansen, 2-year member of the All-State Choir, tenor 1, and member of the All-State Mixed Choir.
Congratulations, Aiden. I will tell you that this is not Aiden's first time to be getting this honor. This is multiple years of his designation. And not only is he a talented, very talented vocalist, he's also a very talented actor. And so you may see him in musical theater at Prosper High School as well. And he's a senior this year, so we'll be losing him, which is sad, but we're very happy for him. So congratulations.
Way to go, Aiden. Congrats, Aiden.
Next, we have Mr. McGuire from Rock Hill High School. He's the choir director at the Hill.
The hell.
We would love for you to introduce your student.
I get to introduce Evan Barnes, who is our first tenor or bass from Rock Hill to make an all-state choir. He can come up. He's also the tallest member of the
Very proud of Evan, and as Mr. McGuire pointed out, Evan stands out a little bit because he's pretty tall. But one thing that I always love too is there's just a sweet kindness about him. Every time that he's standing and he's singing and performing, you can tell how much you genuinely love what you do. So congratulations, we're very proud of you, and obviously the judges saw what I see. Good job.
Awesome.
Nice work.
Congrats.
Way to go, Aiden.
Next, we have the choir director from Walnut Grove High School, Eric Cooley. You'll please come forward. And Mr. Cooley, will you introduce your student, all-state student, come forward, Mr. Toad, come on up.
I'd like to welcome Odinaka Aguilo. She is new to us this year at the Grove, and her first year in choir at the Grove, placed in the All-State Triple Choir as an alto.
Awesome.
Standing.
ISD in Walnut Grove High School. Where did you move from? Plano, from Plano West. That's great. You landed in the right ISD. We're glad you're here. Congratulations. Such a huge honor. And again, first time standard setter at Walnut Grove High School. So congratulations to you. Thank you.
Way to go.
Awesome job.
It's a great thing. All 3 high schools in all 3 areas. So very proud of that. Congratulations to you all. So we have a life-saving award tonight. Quinn Klauser, would you please come forward?
Got it, Quinn.
So pretty big moment. Tonight, we're honoring Quinn, the Life-Saving Award. Quinn is a 5th grader at Boyer Elementary, and her mom, Kelsey, is a communications teacher at Boyer Elementary. Several weeks ago, Kelsey was running on their home treadmill when she passed out due to anaphylaxis. Quinn was home alone with mom when she heard something that didn't sound right from upstairs. She went upstairs to check it out and found her mom unresponsive. Quinn ran to get the neighbor, called her dad. A 911 call was also made. Kelsey was taken by ambulance to the ER and released several hours later. And that's amazing. Absolutely
Nice.
outstanding. So very proud of you, and I have a very special honor for you tonight, medal with your name on it, and it is a life-saving award that we would like to present to you. You are a difference maker. Congratulations.
Way to go, Quinn.
Anyway, Quinn.
naming of our new agricultural facility that sits over by our transportation facility currently and our other ag facilities. It is a great honor to be able to honor this amazing educator with the naming of the M. Wade Shackelford Agricultural Facility. I'd like Wade to please come forward. So I've got a few things to say about you. So just bear with me. Bear with me. So Mr. Shackelford was born in Cleveland, Texas, graduated from Cisco High School, has a BS in agricultural education from Tarleton State University, middle school administration from Southeastern Oklahoma State University. From 1989 to 1994, he was the Agri-Life Extension Service, Hereford and Tahoe, Texas. 1995 to 2022, Prosper ISD agriculture teacher. He's married to the fabulous Catherine Shackelford, who is here with us tonight. They have 2 children. Taylor, who graduated from Prosper High School in 2011, is now a ag teacher himself up in Whitesville, I believe.
Yes.
And then Colton, who graduated from Collinsville, but was also a Prosper student for most of his educational career. His volunteer activities: high school and district site-based team, principal search committee, multiple local county, district, area, and state boards through Ag Teachers Association of Texas and the Collin County Junior Livestock Show Association. A few things about Wade and his accomplishments in Prosper during his time here: qualified multiple teams for state and national livestock evaluation contests, missed the state qualifier only by 1 time in 27 years. Prosper FFA holds the record for the most consecutive years and numbers of animals qualifying for the special sales at the major stock shows. Prosper FFA students exhibited the grand and or reserve grand champion steers at every stock show in Texas multiple times, which had never been done before or since. He began in Prosper ISD with 1 high school. Prosper was 1A and then moved to 2A. There are not many people who can say they worked in all classifications in the same school district, because when Wade actually decided to retire, we were a 6A school district. And so he had seen it go all the way through, all those years, all the growth, all the changes. Mr. Shackelford says that his life's calling was working with kids and animals. I always got paid to do my hobby, kids and animals, and what more could I ask for? I will tell you, just as someone who's been able to watch Wade in action and the numerous kids as we continue to grow, that he would take in and go, come on, you can come show a steer, you can come show a pig. He was always willing and open to find a place for them. And also, if there's anything going on with discipline, all I had to do is call Wade, and he's like, I'll take care of that. And I never heard of it. So we're very, very honored to have your name on our facility. We'll do a dedication this coming spring, now that it's gotten a little bit warmer, and that way all of your friends and family from the area can come and really honor you at the level you need to be honored, because you certainly made a huge difference and had just a remarkable impact in Prosper ISD, and we will be forever grateful. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, school board. And I work with some outstanding people at Prosper ISD, teachers, administrators, kids, families. It wasn't just me. I mean, I had a great supporting cast, and we had a great school board back then too. I know very many of you guys now, but I appreciate everything you've done for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Wade.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now have a quick 2-minute intermission. Students, y'all are more than welcome to stay and see the business side of this, but I know y'all are all. Now down to the business portion. Let's see here. That will bring us to tonight on public comment, we have 5 individuals signed up to speak, all non-agenda related items. So we will have that here shortly. That takes us to informational reports.
All right, you can see our growth continues, so 3,070 students from this time last year to currently. We have gone past the 32,000 mark and students keep coming, so we're growing still. And then we have our video for our Bond 2019 projects as well as our Bond 2023 projects.
Saw a couple new names up there this time.
Yeah.
Fun to see those.
Moving along. So at this time, we'll have Dr. Fan who will join us, and she's going to present the Texas Academic Performance Report from the 2023-2024 school year. And Ms. Webb is coming with her also because we're going to have a little counseling update.
So good evening, and we are here tonight to present the 23-24 Texas Academic Performance Report, also known as the TAPER. And after this report, you're going to have a few counseling highlights. I just want to first thank you, in case y'all haven't ever met Dr. Fan. She's a new addition to our department this year, and people think magic is happening in our department. It's not magic, it's just how great she is, and the work she's doing for our district is phenomenal. So she is the magic. As we review the 23-24 TAPER report, I just want you to remember that this is based on old data. So the test data is from last year, and the graduates we mentioned are actually from 2023. So not last year's graduates, 2 years ago. And all of this information has been updated on our accountability page, so you can see all the district information, campus information for every campus if you want to. Each of them have their own reports. And although the TAPER report is a good data point, and it is released by the state each year, in Prosper, we always focus on the whole child, not just one data point.
All right, so now I'm going to start reporting on the first section of our annual report, which is our academic performance report. Before sharing our data, we wanted to provide a little bit of background information. So students in Prosper ISD participate in the State of Texas Assessment of Academic Readiness, which is more commonly referred as the STAR testing. After students complete the testing, they will receive one of the 4 performance indicators, which is did not meet, approach, meet, or master. Approaches is the lowest passing standard for the STAR test, and it indicates that students have a likelihood of succeed in the next grade or the next course with targeted intervention. Meets is the performance level that is above approaches. It indicates that students have a high likelihood of succeeding with short-term intervention, and master is the highest performance level a student can receive. It indicates that they are likely to succeed with little or no intervention at all. As a member of the Prosper team, we are really proud to say that through an collaborative effort of our students, teachers, supporting staff, as well as our parents, guardian, and our community, our district achieved strong academic excellence in the 23-24 school year. What you see on this slide is our overall performance in English language and art last year. As you can see, our students consistently outperformed the regional and the state average at all performance levels. 92% of our students scored approaches or higher, 77% of our students scored meets or master, and 40% of our students received the highest performance level, master, in the language art test. For math, you will see a very similar pattern where our students show very strong academic performance in comparison with the state or region. 87% of our students scored approaches or above, 64% of our students scored meets or master, and 32% of our students scored masters. Moving on to science, this is another subject we will see our student with strong performance. As you can see, we are outperforming the state and region again at all performance levels. Lastly, this is our results for our social study. This is another subject where our students are excelling. We're performing at the level that is well above the state and the region. The last component we're going to report on for the academic performance is our accountability rating. Due to a pending lawsuit between TEA and district around Texas, we currently does not have any update information we can provide on our A2F rating or our distinction designation. Moving on from our academic performance, we're going to focus on the PEIMS Financial Standard Report. In the 23-24 budgeted financial report, it provides information on the budget data our district have submitted to TEA through the PEIMS system. It includes information regarding our revenue, expenditure, disbursement, tax rate, as well as fund balance. In the January board meeting, Ms. Cease has already presented a very detailed presentation on the results of our 23-24 financial audit. Therefore, we're not going to repeat those numbers in this meeting again, but we do want to take this opportunity to emphasize a couple of the key messages. One is Prosper as a district places high importance on our financial stability for sustaining future growth and preparing for the future needs. Two is we know that student coding and attendance are the cornerstones to our financials, and then accurate student coding and attendance tracking ensure that we're getting accurate funding from the state. Last but not the least, we wanted to recognize an achievement our district has received in the 23-24 school year, is we have received A superior reading in the Financial Integrity Reading System of Texas, and this recognition speaks volumes about all the dedication and hard work we have put in maintaining our financial responsibilities.
Next is going to be the district accreditation status. So TEA looks at the following things in the that's on the presentation for our accreditation status. The one thing I did want to talk about that maybe some people don't know as much about is the program area deficiencies identified through what's called results-driven accountability. That looks at our bilingual and ESL students, our special education students, and then other special population students. So they look at those areas to make sure that our students in those specific populations are performing as well as our other students. There are 4 accreditation status indicators. So they are listed on the presentation, and that the last release from TEA, Prosper ISD, had an A rating in this distinction accreditation status area. There is a delay, and so the new information has not come out, but partially that's because we're waiting on our accountability ratings to come out once they are released from the state. The next section is going to be campus performance objectives. Our campus and our district have campus improvement plans, And these can be found on our Prosper website as well, so you can look at all of these plans you probably already have. Each campus develops and implements these plans, and they include performance objectives based on data analysis and needs assessments. Each campus periodically measures and reports these. We have a meeting, and then we do 2 formative and 1 summative review each year to make sure that we're on track to meeting our goals at both a campus and a district level. One of the campus performance objectives that we are really striving to become is meeting our meets and master star levels. This is one sample of a subject and a grade. In each of the reports on the website, you would be able to see how we're doing on each campus and each grade level. But what we're striving for is more than approaches. We want to make sure that our students are at meets grade level or master's grade level. So here this sample is 5th grade star, and you can see, as Dr. Van had mentioned, our data trends with what we've been doing. We're outperforming the state and the region, but obviously we're always trying to strive for even higher numbers. Another category that I'm really excited to share progress with is college, career, and military readiness. I know last year when we mentioned the report, the state changed the goal of what we needed to make to meet an A or to get that highest standard in this area. It was a 60%. The state wanted 60% of our students to be college and career military ready. Now the state wants 88% of our students to be college and career and military ready. Obviously, in Prosper, we want all of our students to be college and career and military ready. But what is tricky about this is our students started high school well before 2023 when this information came. And we start planning and working with students in middle school and working out what they're going to do and putting them in courses and working through what's going to happen. So when the state changed in 22-23, basically the rules of the game in the 4th quarter, we had to really work to try to meet the goals of these students, not for a grade, but because it's what's best for students. So that you can see, here's the results that is in the taper for 21, 22, and 23. The next slide is not actually part of the taper, but it does include our estimates of 24 graduates. So that data has not been released, but we do keep track of that information. Advanced Academics, CCMR, and AVID are now part of program evaluation, and we are working very hard with counselors, school leadership, CNI, CTE, and special education to educate students, family, and our staff to really increase this number. So with just 1 year of really dedicating and doing a lot of intentional work, we've increased our students with almost 6% of an increase, and we're on track to go even higher this year with our 2025 graduates. So that's exciting with all the work we've been doing in that. Some intentional things we've done this year is we now have college prep courses in math and English for all of our seniors who haven't met college and career readiness, as long as they've met the course prerequisites to be in those courses. So we've partnered with Colin, our CNI team, English and math specialists have worked with Colin, and so now we have college prep courses for those courses. And at the end of that course, they'll also take what's called the TSI test, Texas Success Initiative Assessment, that is required before any student can enter a Texas public school 2 or 4 year school and be ready for college English and college math. So they're not having to take any remedial coursework in college. We've also implemented that same test, and we've given it to all of our students in high school in English 3, well, the English portion of the test in English 3, and the math portion in Algebra 2. And so we're working with CNI to make sure that we're meeting those needs and working with students earlier than their senior year to meet those graduation requirements. We have test prep courses free for students at all levels. Offered to our district, and then obviously CTE is expanding, but with that expansion, we've done a lot of intentional work, training our staff, making sure our counselors know about the pathways, and really educating students on what they need to do and what they can do starting in 7th grade with a lot of sandbox trial courses, but intentionally putting some courses in 8th grade that start those career paths for those students in our high interest areas. So next is determination status, and this section is looking at special education determination status. The information is listed of what meets that, and I'm excited to say that we've met the highest standard of meets requirements for that status, for that indicator. So report on violent and criminal incidents. Here is the information from last school year. TEA requires that districts report this information. And if you can, as you can see, our incident rate is extremely low. Student performance in post-secondary institutions. So I'm going to talk about two different areas where we're looking at students. The first is from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. It provides information to districts that where students are going if they're in a Texas school. So not out-of-state school, and we'll get to that information in a second. So this slide will report on 2023 graduates and where they've gone in Texas, if they've gone in Texas last year. So for the 24 year, if they're enrolled in school and how they're doing. So 2023 graduates enrolled in college if they're in Texas. If you'll notice, there's quite a few students that can't be found. And we're going to show you where those students are somewhat popping up in just a few seconds. So this is also not part of the TAPER report, but it's something I wanted to include after that slide of the presentation, is that we also look at the National Student Clearinghouse Student Tracker, and this is actually looking at students in the fall of 24. So our graduates last year, where are they now? And are they enrolled in college? And obviously not every student's going to be enrolled in college, because we have some students that leave here career ready, and also some students that head to the military or enlist in the military. So here is our fall numbers. If you'll notice, there are 4 graphs on that chart. We don't have 4 high schools yet. That's coming. But I wanted to explain why we have 2 graphs for Walnut Grove. Because when we first ran the number through the clearinghouse, I just knew that there had to be something that wasn't quite right, because I had a really good feeling that there was more than 68% of our students at Walnut Grove going to college this fall. So what we did do is we realized that we know that Walnut Grove serves our students in the Prepare to Prosper program. It's a fantastic program for our students. This program is for our students in our district who have met their academic requirements, but the ARD committee has determined that they need to still work on post-readiness skills, and they do that at Walnut Grove. So they're still in their post-secondary success, but they're not showing up anywhere on the National Clearinghouse. So we took the students that are in our Prepare to Prosper program and took those students out of the data, and then Dr. Fan did her magic, and then we now have another bar graph that shows the number of students enlisted in college that we were able to track without our students that are still in our school system in our Prepare to Prosper program.
Just to clarify too, Ms. Webb, those students could be coming from any of our high schools.
Yes.
taking the Prepare to Prosper, so it's not
Correct.
just Walnut Grove only.
Right, all of the students in the district, after they meet their academic requirements, go to Prepare to Prosper at Walnut Grove. So here is the 2 versus 4-year institution enrollment by school. So you can see the difference. And then in-state versus out-of-state. So this is where we're capturing a lot of those students that we weren't capturing that first report of our TAPER. If you see, we have a very large percentage of our students going to out-of-state schools. Here is a list, an alphabetical, not most popular. These are the top 10 colleges that our 2024 students are enrolled in this year, and 4 of those are out-of-state. So next, a few updates from our counseling department. So just to kind of give you an overview, the purpose of our school counselors in Prosper are to promote and serve students' academic, personal, social, emotional development, and college and career readiness. So a lot of the things that we've been talking about now are what our counselors spend a lot of time working on. And we work closely with students, staff, parents, and our community to continuously monitor students' needs and success. Our goal is to provide developmentally age-appropriate programs at every level for every student, but then offer additional assistance to those in need, whether it's academic or social, emotional, whatever there are, so they can meet their next and thrive. As a counseling department, we have to make sure we have a comprehensive program that goes through all 4 of these areas. And we also have to track our time spent in each of these areas. So each counselor has to track their time within each of these components. And I just want to say thank you because this year, all of our campuses at all levels are in compliance. And it's a huge thank you because we actually now are able to have counselors do counseling duties. Before, they were 504 and testing coordinators at our elementary and middle school campuses. And with that, if you'll see that all campuses are in compliance. And last year, we were not able to be in compliance, but now we are. So it's great to see that now 80% of their time is working with students, helping them meet their needs. And then we have these other great staff members that are doing great work, but just in a different capacity. And these results are great, but they would have been skewed even more because testing season has started. And now we actually have people dedicated on our campuses to do the testing work so that they can keep working with students all the way through May. So exciting time and exciting that we have that information. And although we were not a district selected to report our information to TEA this year, we're ready if we are. Counselors also track their interactions with students in Skyward. So when we meet with students, we track that interaction, and over 110,000 student interactions have been tracked so far this year. And these are the most common things that our students are seeing students outside of guidance in the classroom, what we're working with students on. Emergency outcries is something we never want to have, but sometimes we actually do have these. These outcries that are reported here, the 344 are for self-harm or some type of harm to self, not to others. So this is if a student has an outcry that's concerning with suicide ideation, some type of outcry. 26 of those were initiated directly by a Hope Squad student, so that's exciting to see. Not exciting that it's happening, but exciting to see that the work we're doing is happening. And then students also are encouraged, or actually anyone can use our tip 411 to share concerns about peers, further reinforcing our commitment to safe and supportive school community. Just this month, actually it was last week at a campus, a student had a concern for a student, made a tip 411, counselor and AP were immediately informed, counselor met with the kid, parent was up there by the end of the day, and our student is receiving support outside because they needed some additional help, and our counselor was able to connect that family with that. So we want that for every student, and as soon as we get an outcry, we want to work with that family to give them the support they need. T-Chat's another program that we use through Children's Health. It is free to all of our students in our district. It's Texas Child Health Access through telemedicine, so they can have virtual counseling if that's appropriate. If it's not appropriate, there's a case management that goes on where the case manager from Children's Health helps connect families with appropriate counseling resources for their family or for that child. So another resource completely free to our students in the district. And just last, I want to thank you for your continued support for our Hope Squad program. In case anyone doesn't know, maybe that's watching online or in the room tonight, it's a school-based peer-to-peer suicide prevention program that trains students to recognize warning signs of suicide and support peers in seeking help from trusted adults. It focuses on mental health awareness, reducing stigma, and promoting a positive kindness and inclusion culture and connecting in a connection within schools. Our elementaries have junior Hope Squads, so it's an age-appropriate interventions that doesn't focus on suicide. It's going to focus more on mental health awareness, connections to adult, and anti-bullying and inclusion and kindness on your campus. So very last, I would like to invite you to stop by admin or any campus during Hope Week. So all of our schools are working really hard on our Hope Week. It's a week we really focus on hope. And then our Hope Walk is going to conclude the week. So hopefully y'all can all make it on March 29th to the stadium for our annual Hope Walk. That's it. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Stan and Ms. Webb. Appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the sneak peek into the 2024 numbers.
It's a lot of data you compressed into a great presentation, so appreciate it.
because
Yeah.
you got a 2-for-1 tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that takes us to number 10, our consent agenda. Everyone was able to review that. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion. I move the board approve the guaranteed, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. I move the board approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Any discussion on consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed. Motion passes. Brings us to number 11, action items. 11A, consideration and possible action regarding GMP for Phase 3 of Rogers Middle School renovation. Dr. Bradley.
Good evening, members of the board. We're talking about Phase 3 for Rogers right now. So Phase 1 we did last summer, added 4 classrooms that are in use right now. Phase 2 is ongoing. I'm sure anyone that has kids there will remind you it's ongoing. It's certainly not the most fun thing to do, but credit to Mr. Jatan and our staff there at Rogers for all the hoops that they've jumped through to make that work, and the finished product is going to be awesome. What we have for you tonight is Phase 3. I believe there will be 4 phases of the renovation at Rogers. Phase 3 that you have before you tonight for $9,634,506 is related to the roofing systems and HVAC systems at Rogers Middle School. There is a small piece in the information you were provided that we're going to do some work in the library just because where it's located. We can get to that easy right now, and there's already some stuff we've had to do in the library in Phase 2. And so that's involved in Phase 3, but 99% of this work is above the school. And so you have about 85,000 square feet of roof and a bunch of HVAC units that have aged that are there from the beginning. And this is something that we felt we could do this summer and get this completed, which will set us up to pause. What our plan is at this point is to pause, and in the 25-26 school year, not do anything at Rogers per se once we complete this project. The reason is that you know that we are overcrowded at almost all of our middle schools. We're opening Middle School 6 this summer. But following in August 26, we will open Bridges Middle School on the east side, and it will relieve Rogers. And so right now, Rogers has about 1,620 kids in it. I'll remind you that it was designed to hold about 1,250, and it has 1,600 kids in it. So we have portables there, and certainly this project that's ongoing. And so we would like to do this summer, get that part taken care of, everything above the roof done this summer, and then pause and then wait till the 26-27 school year, because we anticipate at that time the enrollment at Rogers will drop from over 1,600 back to around 1,000 students. And that will allow us to certainly complete some things in the summer of 26, but also during the school year of 26-27, we will have the ability to move some students around, right? Put some, basically treat the renovation during the school year of the classrooms by walling off pieces and saying, okay, we're going to work on those classrooms, and then as we move throughout the building, we'll be able to renovate while school is in session, because you can do that with 1,000 kids. It's basically impossible with the number of kids that we have there today. And so, again, this is Phase 3. This is above the roof stuff. We have had a lot of conversations with Pogue. We have Brandon Colquitt and Roby Bledsoe here tonight, and then Joe Tremblay from Huckabee. Obviously, we've worked with the team for a while. This is going to be a sprint. I think they would back me up on this. We are going to be very aggressive with our teachers about moving out the day school ends, because there's a lot of things we got to get out of the second floor to start this, because you're talking about this is not just taking HVAC units off the roof. We have a gravel roof system on Rogers Middle School, and all that has to come off. And so we're in a situation where we need to be aggressive as soon as school ends to start this project and rip it all off, replace it, get it done, because I believe it's August 13th or thereabout, kids are going to be in the building. And so there's a lot of work to do this summer. We did this a couple of weeks ago, vetted it with a team on Monday afternoon, and so this proposed to you this guaranteed maximum price not to exceed $9,634,506.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bradley. Why don't we go ahead and, if there's a motion, get that, possibly a second on it, and then we can have discussion on this, ask Dr. Bradley questions, if you have that. With that in mind, is there a motion on 11A?
I'll make a motion. I move that the board approve the guaranteed maximum price for Phase 3 of Rogers Middle School renovation as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Okay, discussion on this. Any questions for Dr. Bradley? I think it was rather straightforward on this one. Out of curiosity, when did Rogers open?
2008.
2008. Okay. So, all right, we're there. All right. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? That is all six of us. All right. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. So 6-1, it passes with one abstention. That brings us to 11B, our other R school. Well, one of our other R schools, I guess I should say. Reynolds.
Yes, so now let's talk about Reynolds Middle School, which is also currently Phase 2 is going on. We added, Phase 1, we added 6 classrooms last summer, which are in use today. And Phase 2 is very similar to Rogers, adding some areas for athletics and fine arts and redoing some of the current situation there. And again, credit to Dr. Mullins and her team. If you Reynolds is very much like Rogers right now. It's not a fun place to be. And they have 1,700 kids in the building at Reynolds. And so they have made do, and we appreciate their efforts there. The project is going well, but this one is going to look a little different. Phase 3 here, this is not just a above the roof situation. So Phase 3, there will be 4 phases of Reynolds as well, but Phase 3 is actually redoing some classrooms. And so I want to be clear about what's going to happen here. While Reynolds is in the same situation as Rogers, and we are desperately waiting for Middle School 6 to open, which will give Reynolds some relief. And then in August of '26, when Bridges Middle School opens on the east side, Watkins Middle School will open on the west side and provide some relief. However, Reynolds will not see as much relief as Rogers will when Middle School 6 and 8 open, just because the amount of kids that live in this zone, you got to remember almost all of Light Farms goes to Reynolds and Lakes of Prosper. This area right here in the downtown area is at Reynolds currently. And so there's a lot of students concentrated right there. And so we're not going to see a massive dip. We're going to see relief to Reynolds, but we're not going to see that they're going to go from 1,750 kids to 900 kids or something like that. So there's not going to be a date that we could hold to where you say, hey, it would be a lot easier. And so what we're proposing is to bring in additional portables this summer. That would be on the south side of the district. These are, we have 6 portables currently at Rushing that we will not need next year because Middle School 6, Mosley Middle School will relieve it. And so we will be moving those portables over. A couple from Hall Elementary as well will come to Reynolds. And this will allow us to swing an entire wing of the building out into the portables and redo that while school is in session. This is the complete renovation. So this is ripping the carpet up, it is repainting, it is redoing the drop ceiling, it's making any adjustments to technology that we need to make. When they go back in, it will be new furniture. This is the complete renovation that we have been working towards. And so this will happen in 2 areas of the school. If you're familiar with Reynolds at all, the south side kind of is a classroom wing, the north side is a classroom wing. And when it was built as a high school, it was just a little bit different layout than any of our other campuses. It can make traffic there a little bit goofy sometimes, but when it comes to renovating, it makes it very convenient because you're able to just wall off one section of the building, take those classrooms, put them under construction, move these kids into portables for a little bit. And so we will have more portables, which is not fun, obviously, but this will give us Phase 3. Phase 4 would come back and work on the interior. We anticipate adding on to the front of the building to create an office suite just like we have at our other middle schools, which it really gets us to the capacity that we want. If you'll remember, and I failed to mention this at Rogers, but the capacity of these schools is really 1,200. We have desired to go to 1,500 student middle schools. That's what we've been running. And so doing these 4 phases will allow that. But this Phase 3 for $14,246,439 is the complete renovation, as you saw in the information provided, of Area 3 and Area 1 of the building. It's a little goofy in the numbering system we use, but Area 1 and Area 3 of the building will be completely redone. And this will, it means that basically when we are done with this, about 50 to 60% of the building will be as brand new as it's ever going to be. And then Phase 4 will wrap that up. We will be bringing that to you, sometime in the fall or early spring for Phase 4. But this is exciting. Reynolds, if you don't know, Reynolds opened in 1999 as the high school. And then there was an addition in 2002, and these rooms have not been touched since that time. Having been the principal of that building, a little more familiar with it, this is the same carpet that has been there. And just so you know, we have sixth graders still sitting in combo desks that were designed for high school kids. We have never changed the furniture out there at Reynolds, and so it's time. It's time for some new stuff in that building. So that's our proposal for it. You see that this breaks down to about $215 per square foot, which is well in line with what, you know, when we're talking now, new construction costing $400 to $500 a square foot. This, we vetted this number and feel confident in it. So that's our proposal for Reynolds Middle School Phase 3.
All right. Thank you again, Dr. Bradley, for good explanation. I also see nods of agreement from Mr. Goldsmith in the back, another former Reynolds principal. So thank you, sir, for your encouragement from the back row. Okay, let's go ahead and get a motion out of the way. And again, if there's any discussion that needs to be had, we can have that. Is there a motion for 11B?
I'll make a motion. I move that the board approve the guaranteed maximum price for Phase 3 of the Reynolds Middle School renovation as presented by the administration.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Any discussion on this or any further questions for Dr. Bradley? Okay, hearing none. Again, Dr. Bradley, thank you again for great explanation of everything. You laid it out perfectly for us. All in favor? That is 6 of us. Any noes? Any abstentions? 1 abstention on that. So 6-1, that passes as well on 11B. We are going to move 11C until after executive session. That brings us up to our public comment portion. And we have 5 this evening. Let me read the verbiage real quick, and then we will get going on that. The board will hear comments from the public at this time. Speakers will have 3 minutes this evening. Everyone signed up prior to the meeting. Please respect the privacy of others and refrain from identifying students, employees, and other community members by name. And that will, any speaker with a specific complaint about a district employee, decision, or operational issue should present that complaint through the appropriate mechanism, which is the district's formal grievance process. Speakers with a specific complaint will be referred to district administration for information about the grievance process. Okay, this evening we have, let's see here, 2 students that have signed up to speak, and I've heard that y'all might want to go together, or, okay, y'all do? Well, gentlemen, Caleb and Evan, come on up, and y'all will have the floor. Welcome.
Yes, sir. We have some handouts for y'all to look at. If you want me to pass those out, or
Yes, sir, please. Please do. Thank y'all very much.
thank you.
And also, these handouts have a little map of the school districts and the surrounding area that offer EFFER programs. They have some pictures of me and Evan at our stock shows.
Thank you.
And they have a full list of benefits for the school district. So good evening, my name's Caleb Brown, and me and Evan are here today to speak to you all about adding a EFFER program to our ag program. Me, along with the other FFA officers from Walnut Grove, last year went to Lubbock to charter our FFA chapter through the national FFA. So now we are official. And FFA has really leaded me in my life to just do things my own way, and to really get to learn with all my hands-on things. And it's been, FFA has really helped me like public speak, and it's helped me learn to do things that I would have never accomplished without this amazing program. And right now, me and Evan are showing steers, and we went to the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo earlier this month, and me and him both competed in the Fort Worth Calf Scramble, and we both caught, which means we have a $500 purchase certificate to buy a heifer, and it opens us up to $400,000, or a little bit over $400,000 worth of scholarship money, which we would like to be able to use. Currently, in our ag barn, we have breeding animals for any other species like lambs, goats, rabbits. We have breeding for everything except cattle. We only have steers, which is like the market. So like one day you'll be sitting down at Whataburger and you might be eating one of our steers that we've that we've raised. And then since 1987, 8,700 4-H and FFA members were able to catch a calf for a total of $4.3 million just worth of heifer purchase certificates. So like that's excluding scholarships. I think last year it was about $425,000 worth of scholarship money, which I just think is amazing. And we actually get sponsored by different companies or different individuals. And I'm sponsored by a law firm this year. And some people who have calf scrambled before, they even keep in touch with their sponsors to this day. And they just have like an open communication. And they mean, many people have even gotten their like future careers through these people that they met through this program. Unlike a steer, a heifer is a 2-year program. And the first year you'll show it as a heifer. And then your second year, you'll actually get to breed it, and you'll get to show it as a cow-calf pair, to where you'll have like a more fluid relationship with your animal. And I think it's more cost-effective because you're buying one animal versus buying a steer 1 year and then buying another steer. So you're spending a significant less amount of money. And a lot of the smaller school districts around this area allow heifer programs, and I just think it would be really beneficial for me and Evan to get our scholarship money. And not only just for me and Evan, but for anybody else who would also like to show a heifer. Yeah, I just think it would be amazing for us to have that opportunity and all the scholarship money.
As Caleb mentioned, my name's Evan Othray, and I am in the same boat as him. He and I actually met through FFA. He goes to Walnut Grove and I go to Prosper. I'm the secretary of our FFA chapter at Prosper High School, and I probably would have never met him, but he and I both decided to show steers, and I met him at the barn, and he's probably my best friend. He is my best friend, and I have done so much and learned so much through FFA. I wouldn't be out here talking to y'all if it hadn't have been for FFA and my ag teachers pushing me to do extemporaneous speaking, just be able to come public speak to y'all. And it just has taught me so much in my life and how I interact with other people. And it really is truly a great program. And when we went to the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, as Caleb mentioned, we competed in the calf scramble, which if y'all don't know is where 20 students each night of the rodeo get on the dirt where all of the rodeo contestants compete. And there's 10 calves, and each kid that catches a calf is presented with a sponsor that gives them their $500 purchase certificate. He said that a lot of those people actually have met those sponsors and continued their whole career with those sponsors. And we even have an ag teacher who that sponsor pushed them to become an ag teacher and also gave them a little bit of money per month to help them pay for feed, because that's another cost that we as exhibitors experience. And I remember that when he and I caught those calves, we were both so excited. It was an opportunity that we'd never thought of that had been presented before us. And when we got out of the dirt and we walked out of the arena, we talked to our ag teacher and we were like, what can we do? Like, how are we gonna make this happen? And she sadly informed us that it was a program that had not been offered in Prosper in the past. And we were like, well, let's see what we can do to see if we would be allowed to show heifers next year so that we could be open to that scholarship money and just have that experience. But she said that, well, we did, and we were presented, there was just some barriers because it had never been done before. And one of those barriers was transportation to the shows, and all of the cattle are transported in the same trailers. There's no separate transportation because it's a female compared to a steer. We'd be using the same trailers, the same trucks, and the same people could haul them. And as Caleb mentioned, we already have the female of each of those calves, the breeding animal for each of those animals offered in the barn. And one of the other barriers was that there would be extra teachers missing school days because they would be gone for a heifer show and not just a steer show. But next year, we're supposed to have 2 ag teachers per species of animal. And instead of doing 2 ag teachers for just steers, we were thinking maybe we could have 1 for steers and 1 for heifers just so that there's no more teachers missing days. Another thing that we had is coordinating heifer and steer shows because they are on different dates. And one of the biggest concerns was those teachers would be missing days out of the classroom to transport those heifers. But since we'd have 2 of those teachers per each species, that would help alleviate some of those days missed. And also there would be an additional cost of $10,000 to $12,000 that the district presented that might be an issue, but we decided that we could offset that with parent donations and sponsorships because there really are so many people out there just trying to get heifer programs integrated into schools because it presents so many opportunities for kids. So there's a couple benefits that it also gives the district because since it's not just a market animal for just the kid, it actually goes through the school district and it brings the school district a little bit more in the spotlight on just the public recognition and how that kid really grew up with that animal and what they were able to accomplish with it. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
job,
very
guys.
much. Very good job.
Good presentation.
Evan, I don't think that I've ever seen anybody wrap up at the end as quickly and as well as you did, so fabulous job there.
Perfect.
Okay, next we have Mr. Conway.
Hey, good evening, Board. So a couple things safety-wise. One, DEI has been removed, have been canceled, and I've noticed in a number of school districts where they'll remove the DEI, but they'll rename it. The principal needs to be gone, period. It's very divisive. We don't need division. We need to come together as a community. When you have a division, you have the racism promoted, come on. We can do better. We bring students together. You know, the other piece is the violence. I'm sure y'all are all well aware of what took place at the high school. The teacher got kicked in the head. You know, and I heard the report the person here recently made about the different categories. And I found it interesting. They talked about incidents of weapons on campus, felony controlled substance, student enrollment versus incident ratio. Didn't talk about the fights among students. That's a huge deal, guys. Safety is critical. If one of our peers gets kicked in the head, come on. The reality is this, guys. We're all about the same age. It's one of us getting hurt. Either the kids learn from the parents. If the parents aren't teaching them at home, the police will. I don't want people, kids, I hate the thought of expelling a student. Really do. If it's necessary, do it. A teacher getting kicked in the head, that kind of qualifies. The person could have died. What are we teaching if we are not doing criminal charges? So I looked up, I don't see any criminal charges that have taken place on the students. I mean, the teacher's covering that student to protect him. And the kids keeps coming at him. I mean, back in my day, our day, it was real simple. Teacher got involved, you backed off immediately. There's no respect. And if we don't put the consequences in place, the kids won't respect. So what are we teaching them? So y'all need to focus on getting the safety back in, because it will continue, or they'll end up in jail. These kids deserve better. If they, get programs involved, get them help that they need. I don't think just because a kid gets in a fight and makes a sudden movement, does something wrong and does something horribly stupid that harms an adult, they need to immediately be just gone forever. You sit them down, you talk with them, you work with them. But there also needs to definitely have consequences. And I've heard nothing about it, or nothing about expel or anything of that nature. But the focus needs to be safety, having the accountability, having the rating system for the violence of what takes place in the school, because we know fights take place. They happen all the time. And to ignore it is wrong. And get the DEI gone. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Next,
Mr. Conway, appreciate you coming up. I do want to let you know that was handled. And certainly we're not going to put out on the street exactly what we've done, because there's student confidentiality involved in that. But please know that we take that very seriously, and this board takes it very seriously. And that was handled at the highest level possible due to our amazing police officers and staff members. And that was actually the principal, not a teacher. Thank you.
Have the students been removed from that school?
Can't discuss that with you, sir. Confidential information.
next we have Mr. Bennett.
Good evening. What I found interesting was the TEA accountability. I think that was either full of whatever.
Sir, hold
Because
on,
on
wait
the-
6 seconds, pause time,
No,
please.
I got my time.
We're pausing time because we're not gonna take time from you, but I would just ask that you not use profanity
You can
when
ask.
up here. So I
You
will
can
go
ask.
ahead and give you a warning, but I'm just asking that
You
you
can
not
ask.
use profanity.
You can ask.
Yes, sir. All right, please start time again.
TEA accountability. On January 2023, TEA has conducted good faith search for any and all information related to request, has not been able to locate any information in regards to any misconduct reportal investigation. The misconduct reporting portal was active starting March 12, 2020, and review of this information available indicates Prosper ISD has not used the portal to submit any misconduct reports. That was January 23. What took place prior to that? Justice for Janice. You can sit there and smirk, but we still ain't got no independent investigation report that you guys signed off on and paid for. So again, nothing takes place, no accountability, and that's just what you reported on. So when is accountability actually going to take place? Nobody up there would say anything. Misconduct, 2023, nothing. Now suddenly, there's been reporting take place on 2024 and 2025. Amazing. But nothing prior to that. Still no justice for Janie's. School board sits there silent as usual.
Okay, next up, we have Mr. Charles.
Hello, trustees. It's a long time no see. Good to see some familiar faces. I wanted to come and talk to you about what I've already been notifying you guys of the 466 homes that are in Prosper ISD by an agreement, which I'm very proud to have in the place because my family took advantage of that agreement. But one of the things that we're trying to do and we're beginning to do is fund the petition to get the 466 homes now completely zoned so that the tax revenue comes directly to you guys into our district to pay for the education that my students took advantage of directly. Because right now my tax dollars are going to Denton ISD instead of Prosper ISD. And the historicity of this is in 2013 and 14, it was attempted to do a land swap with Denton. Of course, they wanted the commercial side of Windsong Ranch, and for this 466 section of homes, that was rejected by Denton ISD and Prosper ISD by Dr. Watkins, which was very wise because we didn't know what was going to be built up there. This is not a land swap deal. If you've understood the Texas code that I wrote you guys and told you guys more about, it is actually the debt swap. So there will be a debt allocation that comes with our homes, but it's now taking $6.2 million of $490 million worth of assessed value and turning that into revenue for Prosper ISD to now use. This year you guys had a budget deficit started. And so I'm asking for your guys' support to drive not only when the petition becomes available to you guys, we anticipate being done by the end of March, because we're really excited to actually forever be Prosper residents of Prosper ISD and not be subject to a political storm, a change in the political culture, a non-payment from the HOA, a vote from the HOA that would abandon that agreement. We want our revenue that's going to Denton to come to get us so that it can properly fund the educational services we already enjoy. For all the results that are been posted tonight and celebrated, I want the next generation of my kids who might inherit my home or the homes that are in those area to make sure that they have the opportunity to forever attend Prosper ISD. So I'm asking for your support for the petition when it comes before you to approve it. For those in the audience, it requires Prosper to approve, and then if they approve, it's done. There's negotiation on how the debt payment's paid. It can be paid immediately or it can be paid over time, just like another bond. It only requires Prosper ISD if Denton, which we agree, will probably deny it because it's a loss of about $5 million to them at their tax rates. So they're probably going to deny it. But then it gets appealed. And at the appeal level, we have the most unique circumstances. Prosper ISD has all of our students already. So this is not a, taking students away from one group and turning them all other annexations, including the one that happened here to McKinney in 1986, was loss of students from the detached to the annexed. So this is the win for the entire
Mr.
school
Charles.
district.
Thank you.
All right, that now brings us to report from the superintendent.
Yes, so we had our job fair, Ms. Hunt, who is with us, who's our fabulous Chief Human Resources Officer, along with Ms. Trotter with Communications, and then Ms. Brantley with our events. This was a highly attended event. Over 500 people came, a lot of energy and excitement in the room. We were able to grab some great people out there, and it was a great event, well attended, and certainly had beautiful weather for this to also happen because we dodged all of the cold. But our principals, of course, were
being amazing, and staff was great. Dr. Hickey and her team were able to connect with several special education staff members, which we all know is a true shortage in the state of Texas. And so just really proud of the team and everything that they did to really show Prosper excellence. So thank you. And then the Elementary Student Advisory Council, so was able to connect with our elementary students. Always such a joy to be able to hear from them and really hear their thoughts about what they're wanting to see for the future. Tried to take them all the way from elementary into their freshman year of high school and what they would be wanting and envisioning for that learning and what they see. We heard a lot, or got to hear a lot about driver's courses, because they started going, you and I could drive by that time? And I'm like, well, you'd be getting ready. And so there was a lot of trying to take them into the future to see what it is. And we talked about leadership, and they actually have homework from their time with me, so that they have to come back with a report on a leader that inspires them and why those characteristics inspire them. So I'll be interested to hear next month what they're going to come back in with. And then our Silver Stars Tour, always a great event. What I love is the way that our seasoned community, senior community connects with us, able to really see what's going on in our schools today. We went to Jackson Elementary, which Miss Bobby Allen does an outstanding job in really welcoming all of our visitors in. And then we certainly have our Suzuki Strings program, one of our fine arts program at Jackson. And so being able to see the students perform, and then they went and they toured classrooms and got some Jackson goodies too, because of course Miss Allen had some things for them, and just a great opportunity. And then we were able to partner with the Prosper Chamber of Commerce. They have a Leadership Prosper where 25 people have been selected in this area, because they could be in Salina, Frisco, the Prosper area, but they're business owners. And so we partnered with Collin College on that day. It was Education Day for the Chamber, and so they went to Collin College in the morning and then made their way over to Walnut Grove. Our students were able, through our culinary program, to serve them a delicious meal, and they were all very impressed by that. Some of them purchased some items from the pastry shop, so was a big moment for the kids. And then we went over to Brenda Calhoun Early Childhood School, and we were able to tour where our youngest learners start their educational journey. And then we came back to Walnut Grove, and Mr. Toth spoke to the group, as well as we had 3 of our student leaders who actually toured. And then Ms. Dixon and Mr. Linker helped me out with a school board panel so that they could learn a little bit more about school board and what that role means, and then gave them just growth information. We talked a little bit too about legislative action and advocacy and what that means for Prosper ISD, and how our school district is directly impacted by the decisions from the state. And then lunch with our leader, one of my favorite things that we get to do. And so we actually hosted the District Alternative School, our staff from there, which is a small but mighty group of about 8, and really being able to connect with them. I shared a story that they end up kind of being sometimes the forgotten group, because they have a small group of students typically, and they are a small staff. But I had a call from a parent the day before we had lunch, and the parent said, I just want to say both of my kids have graduated, but he shared that one of his students had an experience with DAEP and how phenomenal it was because of the staff that was in there, and how it was just really a next level of care, and making sure that that student continued to be honored and respected as a student, but also educated at a very high level. So great time with them. Certainly appreciate the Prosper Education Foundation supporting and sponsoring these events and luncheons for our staff. It's a great time to connect with them.
Okay, real quick, one more thing. Ms. Hunt, fabulous job on the job fair. Seriously, awesome. Also want to say Ms. Brantley is not here this evening, but she did a great job setting it up. It really, Rock Hill looked amazing that day. Very impressive to all the teachers that were coming in to look. There was just an awesome energy in the room that day. So, hey, anybody that's out there that's watching the meeting this evening, still need lots of teachers, and hey, the water is warm, so come on. Okay, we will now go into closed session. let's see here. We will now recess into closed session in accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Sections 071, 072, 074, and 076. Thank you so much for coming this evening. We are back. The time is 11:10 p.m. Let's see here. Okay, is there a motion on 11C? All right, hearing none, we move along to 15B, consideration and possible action regarding hiring contract personnel. May I have a motion?
I move that the board approve the hiring of contract personnel as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mr. Dial. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. I'm assuming there's no discussion.
It's a great list. Let's keep hiring.
It's a great list. That's right. Let's keep doing it. All right, all in favor? That is all 7 of us. That takes us to 11:11. Good night. We are adjourned.